To order. Welcome to our meeting here today at Sangado County Council, February 26th, 2006. It is 9:30 a.m. I'd like to have you look at our agenda. Council members, are there any additions to the agenda? Ann?
Thank you. Through the chair, just under B, I'd like to put item 2, CAO updates on capital projects.
Where was that again?
Under B, county manager, and then item number 2. I'd like to add a number 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other additions? Quick little update, Reeve is away stuck in Mexico, so today I'm doing the position of Reeve, Deputy Reeve, and filling the spot. Summers managed to find a plane, and he's on his way back, but he'll be here tomorrow, so that's good to hear that he's coming back home. Okay, motion to accept the agenda? Ed? All in favor? That is carried. Public session. Do we have anybody in the public session?
I do, but I would like to do that on the gravel deal. Like on summer rates.
Okay, Andy, do you want to talk about it at the mic? Or
I'll send you
just want to wait?
when you're talking about.
Okay,
Because I got some rates here, eh?
okay,
Past rates and whatever.
okay.
I don't know if I
So-
can do that.
No. Go ahead, Ann.
Through the chair, it's not, the presentations to council are at the beginning of the meeting, but it's not the items that come forward with administration. They're not open for debate, they're for council to consider.
Thank you. Are there anybody online? Nobody online? Number 5, adoption of minutes. You've all had a chance to read the February 11th, 2026 budget meeting minutes. Any errors or omissions? Motion to accept. That's Mike. All in favor? That is carried. Second one, 5.2, the February 12th County Council meeting minutes. Had a chance to look at those? Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to accept. Barry, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried as well. Delegations and presentations. We have Glenda Farnden, I believe I got it correct, from STARS, and she's going to give us a presentation this afternoon, this morning. We're not that far along yet. Glenda, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. Get this a little closer to me. Is that good? Well, I'm very pleased to meet all of you as a new council. I've had the pleasure of previously working with your previous councils for about the past 15 years. So we have a long-standing partnership as well, and I want to mention I was very excited to see Ann here as well, because I had previous opportunity when she was at another municipality that we worked together for several years. So this is like coming home, and so it's very nice to meet all of you. I'm Glenda Farnden, the Senior Municipal Relations Liaison for STARS for Alberta and Northeastern BC. So it's a very long handle that really does equate to the fact that for the past 20 years, I've worked with municipal councils across the entire province. And so I am truly vetted in what STARS has to bring to Albertans. On December 1st, 2025, was the official date that STARS actually celebrated 40th anniversary of serving Albertans. We have been, in that 40 years, we have always maintained a charitable model, meaning that with Dr. Powell's vision, that anyone that found themselves in the most critical situation had access to STARS. And in that time, we have flown over 63,000 missions. None of this is possible without partnership. And so we look to the future of continuing to build the longstanding partnerships that we have shared that have helped us to achieve this for Albertans. So unfortunately, also last year, prior to our 40th anniversary celebrations, we lost our founder, Dr. Greg Powell, on April 30th. So he was the most exemplary critical care physician, and he has been celebrated all over the world for his life-saving efforts. We are now under the leadership of Dr. John Froh. He is our new president and CEO. He is not new to STARS. He has been with STARS 13 years, previously held the role of Chief Medical Officer all across Western Canada for all 6 of our bases that are located in Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon, Calgary, Edmonton, Grand Prairie. And so we find ourselves again under the leadership of another exemplary critical care physician, and I assure you we are in very good hands as we move forward and look forward to the next 40 years of serving the future generations. As far as direct operating costs for 3 bases in Alberta, it's roughly $12.2 million per base for operational costs. This does not include administration costs, any of our education and training, and all of the highly specialized medical equipment on board the helicopter. We reach out to individual donors and the corporate sector to fund those additional items. So we are really doing a lot of the heavy lifting to continue for STARS to be able to provide the services that we do. We are an essential service. We do have a renewed 10-year agreement, affiliation agreement with Alberta Health Services for $15 million block funding per year. This represents 41% of our operational costs. So they are our largest funding partner, but this does still leave 59% that must continue to be fundraised for the operations side, in addition to the education and training and the medical equipment. Of that 59%, our lottery, which is underway right now as we speak. Last night was the deadline, for the early bird, but it's still underway until March 31st. The deadline is March 20th to purchase tickets. The lottery STARS Lottery is a well-respected lottery in Canada. It's in its 33rd year, and a lot of people don't realize the monumental effect of everyone just buying a lottery ticket. We net funds each year that pays for 1 base in Alberta through the lottery. So this is a pretty big deal. The intensive care unit environment in our new fleet of H-145s, we have a new fleet of 10 helicopters. All the highly specialized medical equipment, as you can see, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It is very much the airborne intensive care unit environment that we bring right to the scene of an accident anywhere. We also have continued to maintain to be a leader in innovation. We were the very first medical organization in in North America, to bring blood on board, universal blood on board. So we've had this for more than 10 years. In the last 2 years, we've increased from carrying 2 units of blood to carrying 4 units of blood because we keep seeing so many high-level, high-risk patients that are at risk of bleeding out. Last year, I also presented that we have introduced as well another first in Canada massive hemorrhage protocol. So this is a new medication that now helps these types of high-risk patients to keep from bleeding out after we apply the first 2 units of blood. This helps them to build blood clots. so that we can then apply the second 2 units of blood en route to tertiary care. And it is a game changer. Like, we are seeing significant advancement in saving lives with these very high-risk patients. We also carry the thrombolytics on board for heart attack, stroke, and pulmonary embolism. So it's a culmination of so many advancements over the years as we continue to grow and evolve and innovate. The top 4: cardiac, vehicle incident, other medical distress, which includes stroke as well as trauma, represents approximately 80% of everything we do. So there is a reason that STARS is the dedicated critical care provider, not only in Alberta, but Saskatchewan and Manitoba as well. We're very proud to work with our chain of survival partners, our fire departments, your fire departments. It's really important. They are the ones that keep everyone safe on the ground and that allow us to have a safe landing zone area. Sometimes there are incidents where we do not have the assistance of them because it's in areas that STARS is the only resource that can respond in some cases. But we do work very closely with fire departments, first responders, RCMP for search and rescue. We can be the first one out the door in 8 to 10 minutes and start the search while they're putting together search and rescue teams. We work very closely with ground ambulance and fixed wing as well. Our STARS crew can go on all modes of transport, not just STARS helicopter. If it's a critical patient, they will go on ground ambulance with that patient as well as fixed wing. Sometimes, a patient may be coming in by local ground ambulance to the nearest hospital, which would be your Mayor Thorpe Hospital. But because of the nature of the patient, maybe that patient is deteriorating rapidly, and sometimes we have to rendezvous with ground ambulance in the middle of nowhere in order to get that patient and start that critical care piece. So that lots of times there is rendezvous as well as at other neighboring airports with fixed wing. So it is very much a united effort of all chain of survival partners when it's a critical case. We were the very first medical organization in North America, other than the military, more than 20 years ago, to be able to fly at night. More than 50% of our call volume is always at night. So this literally represents thousands of lives saved because we have this ability to fly at night as well. And if you look on the left photo, STARS is borderless. Our crew and all helicopters cross all borders across Western Canada. This is really important, especially within the last 5 years, we've seen some really critical multi-casualty incidents across all prairie provinces. And we've been able to dispatch multiple helicopter response to these types of multi-casualty situations as well. STARS is much more than just rapid transport. We also provide virtual care consultation and have provided this with your medical professionals at Mayor Thorpe Hospital as well. Our STARS transport physicians are available 24/7 in our Emergency Link Center, which is located in Calgary. And so they are available to provide this virtual care consultation. So when the smaller rural hospital is presented with critical or trauma cases, that they can call in. Even if STARS is out on another mission and cannot respond physically, we are providing critical care virtually. So not only medical guidance, but also procedural guidance when the smaller rural hospitals do not see trauma every day like we do. And so this is just another advancement of what's happening on the back end of how STARS is enhancing rural health care, and we are continuing to work with your local medical professionals and your local hospitals. There is an international air medical transport competition each year. This is a very highly rigorous competition. It's worldwide. STARS has competed for 23 years straight now. We're just getting ready to host our own internal competitions again coming up in May. We do this amongst all our bases to find only one team of 2 that will get the final honor of representing STARS internationally on the international stage at this particular competition each year. In the past 23 years, STARS has placed top 3 in the world all 23 years. And this past October 28th, STARS team once again took first place for the 9th time in that 23 years of competition. We are very proud to bring your residents the highest level of critical care available in Alberta. This shows you a 15-year overview of missions that occur within the Lac St. Anne County boundaries. So a total of 379 missions have been flown. You will see there's a lot of different areas. There's asterisks again, because we always code to the nearest community. So there may be communities included that are not within Lac St. Anne County, but we use actual Latin long location in order to identify that the landing area was within your boundaries. So even though it was coded to a community outside of your boundaries, the actual mission occurred within your boundaries. You can also see that we've had some in different areas. We have assisted with search and rescue as well throughout your area. So we are really covering a lot of different areas across Lac St. Anne County. Now this, in difference to the previous statistics I showed you that are missions within your county boundaries, this is using postal code of the patient. So this identifies your actual residents within your boundaries. So you'll see on the left the resident communities listed for a total of 164 residents from these different communities have been flown by STARS since 2010. Out of the 164 residents flown, 60 patients were picked up in Mayerthorpe, and 104 of these residents were picked up in 32 other locations across Alberta that's shown on the map with the red dots as an identifier for the pickup location of these residents. Accidents and illness do not happen just because you happen to be close to home. And so this really is, it really is a testament to the value of our partnership together, that your residents have access to STARS wherever they may travel across Western Canada. I have some municipalities that they'll have red dots all the way from Winnipeg all the way west to BC, that they were in other areas when they needed STARS. So it really is significant of the value of partnership. So this is going to show you where we're at now that you are a part of in our municipal partnership across the province. So currently we have 95% of Alberta is in partnership. This is showing you the municipalities that have come on board at a less than $2 minimum per capita request that we ask of them. And so, but they are all on graduated proposals, meaning that they are building towards, you know, over a couple of years of the council term, building towards reaching the $2 per capita minimum that we request. Now this shows you everyone, including Lac St. Anne County, that are regional leaders, meaning that they are at the minimum or above $2 per capita. This ranges up to $90 per capita. 50% of these regional leaders that you see shown in the dark navy are giving somewhere between $4 per capita and $90 per capita. This shows the 9 provincial leaders that we have. They are all represented on the helicopter, meaning that cumulatively over the years, they have reached $500,000 or more than $1 million, and they are represented on the helicopter. So we have 9 provincial leaders. This year, we're going to welcome 3 more provincial leaders and have 3 logo unveilings. Now, the red outline will identify those that the municipal districts or counties are in partnership, complete regional partnerships. There's 21 of them. That includes every town and village that lies within a county or municipal district's boundaries is also a supporter of STARS along with their county. I'm very pleased to announce to you that Town of Mayerthorpe just came on board as well to join you. So we're very close to building a complete regional partnership within your boundaries as well. So we look forward to that. And in closing, I'd like to say thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being a regional leader along with 80% of the province. You are currently at a fixed rate of support that's based on a $2 per capita at $22,600 per year. And this was approved for a 3-year pledge. Most of the 80% of the province have moved to a standing motion, meaning that we are a line item in their budget. So in 2028, I will be making another presentation to you, but I will come every year to bring you further information, keep you well informed. Just pre-warning you that in 2028, I will be asking for your consideration of joining 80% of the province to move to having us as a line item each year. It does not mean that I will not come and see you every year to bring you further information and statistics that's happening in your area. A picture is worth 1,000 words. We are committed to bringing critical care anywhere for any of your residents. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Glenda. Any questions from council? All right, do I need somebody to move them as a presentation? Yeah. Would somebody like to move that presentation? Jill? All in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you, Glenda, again. Thank you.
Thank you. I did bring you the latest newsletter and the latest calendar. So, and please remember the lottery if you're a lottery goer, because it really does make a difference. And I brought a set for your fire chief as well. So, thank you again.
You're very
Pleasure
welcome.
to
Thank
meet
you for
each and
coming.
one of you.
Okay, we can move on to our next presentation as I see the corporal is here. Today we're getting a presentation from the Parkland RCMP detachment. Now, Corporal, I hope I managed to get your name correct. I'm going to give this a whirl. Corporal Ives de Jondi Desari? Close. Yes. Yeah. Well, maybe for the record, you can go ahead and tell us how you pronounce it. You turn the mic on. There's a switch. Thank you.
This is Corporal Jamdi Jarcia.
Okay.
For short, people call me Eve or DJ.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
I'll be assigned to Lac St. Anne County. I've been in Parkland for a year. Previous service was in Leduc, so I did the city police, county police, and also my second posting was Maskwacis. It was 4 nations of Maskwacis, as Airmen Ski in Edmonton, Montana, and Louisville. So today, it's pretty much, I'm just going to go over some data, just to give you some sort of number regarding what happened this year and roughly last year. There was a lot of data that we tried to compile. I tried to get the most essential one in this presentation. So when we look at, I would say 2024, as you can see there, we will go for the first category was the person crimes. So we have report, we amalgamate robbery, extortion, harassment, and threats. We had like 72 in 2024 that have been reported. And again, the one with report not necessarily the one we're getting action. It just means that was reported, investigated, but I spare you the data of which one, what was the outcome of each one. That's just the reported. So we have 72 reported in 2024, and we have 79 this year. So in the person crime category, what we're seeing this year is like we're a little bit on a raise. Same thing, we're looking at sex assault. We had 15 total in 2024. We had 21 in 2025. Assault, slightly down, but pretty much the same thing, 95 in 2024, 93 in 2025. And we have some category, I just included this one because it's probably a little bit higher in the threshold of person crime. That's the kidnapping, abduction, all those kind. We had 3 this year, none last year. As far as returning threat, again, we have 8 in 2024 and 7 in 2025. So not sure what we have a total of 190 person crimes reported in 2024 and 203 in 2025. So the reason why that may go up, it's maybe related to different, I would say, different social, I would say, reasons. That's why the person crimes are maybe up. Regarding, I would say, the first part of property crime, we're talking about the theft. That's usually the one where I think people are taking it very personal. I call it like person crime, not property crime, but they're very personal when you have something stolen for you. I've been victim of theft, so I can speak from experience. So when we're looking at break and enter, we have the numbers actually down. It's what's been reported. We had 85 in 2024 and 67 in 2025, if I'm correct. And again, we're going down. Theft of motor vehicle, 87 in 2024, 73. In 2025, we have 102, 40 other theft over 85. So in general, those numbers are going down for property. Like when we're looking at the frauds, usually we have a lot of fraud at the detachment as far as being reported. There's 64 in 2024 and 52. So there's a significant drop. The total, we had 745 in 2024, and now we had 550. So is either way people is underreported or people are not reporting as much as they will do, or we're doing a great job. So it's a combination of a multiple factor there. But the fact that also it goes down is because we also have what I would say more educational in terms of break and enter. Cold Start. I don't know if you're familiar with the Cold Start program. Pretty much we encourage people to not let the car running, because that's usually how most of the vehicle get stolen, because they're left running and people jump in and they go. So there's also a patrol made on some area who are specific. In the case of Lac St. Anne County, we'll see a lot of those reporting around Alberta Beach. That would make sense. Where we have more population, that's where we tend to have more calls. Going down, we're talking about drugs. We don't, again, the numbers are slightly down. A total of 20 reported in 2024 and 15 in 2025. And that's range from possession, trafficking, and other maybe just we stumble over drugs, and that's why it's classified as drug enforcement over there. We also have little related to marijuana really these days, but under the Mental Health Act, that's probably what I would say like is still a little bit high. There are a number of factors of that. from experience, what I saw is after COVID, there was a spike into mental health. Believe it or not, they're very consuming, time-consuming calls because that require a lot of time and assessment, working with partner, or transport the patient to different hospital in the cities. So that's a big one. I would say where most of the time consuming in terms of a call. Municipal bylaw, again, working with a partner with a community police officer. Those numbers are a little bit down too, 134 in 2024 and 126. So those are down. One was on up again is going to be under the traffic. I went to at least, I think, last year in Lac Saint Anne County, I think one fatality, but most of them, or most of the collision we had are due to the weather, if I can see. Not so much, we don't see war combination between the weather and something else. What else I like? Like you can see, we had 175 motor vehicle collision in 2024 and 193 in 2025. So again, those numbers are close, but there's a significant increase. Regarding roadside suspension, alcohol, again, here, this data, I'm not sure if it should be a little bit higher than that. I'm not sure if I mix up with other part of Parkland County, but I see here we had 2 and 1, but I will check those numbers because you have to remember those numbers are the numbers reporting to a system, and depending on how they made the entry or the officer, they may be taking into account or not taking into account. So in some area, I would say generally we saw a spike into person crime and motor vehicle collision in between 2024 and 2025. Alarms, those are more, I would say, the other calls of service we have a lot, like report of suspicious person or responding to alarm. Those are also down, but they're still roughly, I would say, depending on what's happening in the community, if our prolific offenders are out, if patrols are made, those numbers can go up or down. So they're a little bit down in 2025 was a good thing. The next slide, body camera. I don't know if anybody knows that I'm wearing one right now. I can show you. This is it's a very useful tool for us. I'm kind of a fan of it because in terms of accountability, it's great because our interaction with the public now are recorded. So that alleviated a lot of public complaint, and that will help greatly the justice system because in terms of because the camera is just one tool. The camera, the note, the officer, the witness, and the statements are all put together, but this kind of really help into painting the picture, whatever we're facing. So we had a few new functions with that. Now the camera is paired with a taser. So if I arm a taser and there's multiple officers in the scene, all the camera go on by themselves. That also helps in the case of critical incident. So now instead of, we can have multiple view, like when I have to review those use of force, I can easily go, what happened, I can see all the involved officer, and I can see different perspective of what happened. Great tool, still work in progress, but it works fine. On a different note, I know it's not too far, so I think it was December in 2025. That was probably a crime reduction unit. It was near, they say near on the way, but you have to understand that what happened in Tuonaway or Alberta Beach, or they usually start at one point. Same thing with our pursuit. Our pursuit may start in Edmonton and may end in like St. Anne County, or vice versa. May start here and go there. So they had what I would say a drug bust. They seized 83 gram of cocaine, 3 gram of methamphetamine, and Canadian currency and a replica of firearm. So for us, the big thing is we're trying to go after where we're seeing drugs in general, my opinion, not in my opinion, my experience, we're seeing firearm and we're seeing violence. So this is actually good. This is, I think it results from suspicious activity, and crew just did a traffic stop, and they charged 3 individuals with trafficking and having property obtained by crime and possession of a weapon for dangerous purpose. So just one thing I want to highlight in the community there, that's some drugs and some guns out of the community. And the last slide there,
Last slide, please.
questions. I'm pretty much more here if you have any question. I know I presented a bunch of numbers, but feel free to ask me a question if I can answer today, yes, or next time.
All right, Corporal, thank you very much. So are there questions from council members? I do have one that, I have two actually. One is, are there some areas of concern that you're concerned about within our county?
I wouldn't say area concern. I would say probably where we're getting most of a call will be Alberta Beach, just because most of the populations are there. So most of a call will be around that up, either way in Alberta Beach or diverted to in term of response, Alberta Beach and Nonaway. That's usually where we will go. But in general, the calls are very spread. I would try to have maybe a better mapping for next meeting.
All right, thank you. My second question then would be, are our CPOs working with you well?
Which one?
The CPOs that the county of Lac Ste. Anne has?
Well, is like some, depending on which CPO, we'll try actually is a good question, because last year we're trying to get our partner, because there's multiple CPOs in Lac Ste. Anne County and Parkland County in general. I think the big challenge we're facing is we don't necessarily know when they're on shift and when they're not, because we're trying to divert a few bylaw calls to the CPO. But what we're seeing, we're working when they're on the air, but we're working on trying to have a better communication and try to divert calls to the bylaw. That's, I would say, but in general, they will call us a lot to assist. I will probably have a presentation on how we assist other organization, meaning firefighters and bylaw. So you will see the numbers, but we work with them quite a bit.
So Ann, maybe if I could direct this question to you, it might be something that administration might check into to make sure we can collaborate better.
And one thing too, I think it'd help clarity-wise whether the CPOs are from Parkland or from us, and, you know, just get some better coordination.
Yes, that would be great. I think that will make us more effective, because I found we're more reactive now than proactive.
Right.
We're trying to move it more on the proactive side. If
And that was exactly my point. Let's be a little more proactive.
Yes.
Any further comments? Corporal, thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate everything you've done, and we appreciate also what you do for us when you're outside this office too as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and you have a beautiful community, I will say.
All right. Somebody motion the accept for information? Have a question? Oh, both motions we accepted for presentation. All in favor? That is carried.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
I better take my chair.
Okay. We are moving right along. We are now going to go to number 7, operations, A, public works. Number 1, 2026 summer gravel haul rate. All
Thank you,
right,
Mr.
gentlemen, the
Chair.
floor is yours.
We're tag teaming today. So yes, this is an item that was here before you at the last council meeting, and that, as your request, is being brought back. So I will hand it over to Brad here to explain the questions that were asked.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, today it's coming back as the contracted haul rate for our summer gravel haul. Just the background a little bit, and we'll go through it pretty quick. Some of the questions that came up, we talked about the criteria and what it looks like for our payment and invoicing. Load factor, when we look at that, it's essentially a rate paid per ton hauled. It's basically used to ensure that we're using the trucks efficiently. If the truck is underloaded, the payment is less, right? That's essentially where that comes from. You know, if we were to pay by load and the trucks were underloaded, that's not a good value. So that's where that comes into play. When we look at the ton kilometer rate, it's essentially the rate paid times the ton per load and the kilometers traveled. This factors in the distance as well as tonnage, and it essentially equalizes the payments between long and short hauls. Kind of makes it a little bit more even, where the trucks, if they're on a long haul, it kind of brings it more to a center line rate. And then, of course, the fuel surcharge is rate paid times the sum of the cost of the other two criteria, and are essentially where this came in. Rising fuel costs a few years ago prompted some municipalities to start using this surcharge, and as we see that in many freight companies as well. With this, we brought forward just some comparisons. We reached out to a few other municipalities to see kind of where they're at for their haul this year. As you can see, it's a little bit, fuel surcharge is not there with a couple of these municipalities. I would say that our rates come in pretty much right on par with what most other people are doing. Did not get a ton of information from them other than what they had and what their reasoning was. They just kind of gave us their rates. If we look to the next table, sorry, that just up one, thank you. That table, that's just kind of, I have a little bit more background on that, and you can see a bit of a jump after the 2022 season, and essentially that was contractors came and asked for a bit of a bump, and it was previous direction to give that bump. And this is where we are at currently. We did bring forth a little bit more detailed fuel price comparison. So what we started with was basically consumer, what anybody would be paying at the pump. These are the ones that actually would answer the phone when I called. It was difficult to reach a few, but kind of in the area within the county mostly. Where we might be using it, and you can see an average of basically 1.469 per liter. When we moved to a commercial price, again, this was a little bit difficult to drum up. The commercial price kind of fluctuates, of course, based on how much maybe each company would be using. So this is the best info that I could get. The Petro-Canada Edmonton, that came from their website. That's all they really gave for their commercial prices. I could not get a hold of our in-county stations to get their commercial rates. And then Co-op was pretty good at giving their rates there. So that average comes out at 1.313. And then we looked at essentially the UFA government rate that these stations would have, and that average comes out to 1.277. So what that means when we're looking at our fuel surcharge for contractor rates, at the 1.469, that's a 14% fuel surcharge rate. At the commercial price of 1.313, it's 11% based on our policy. And at the government average price of 1.273, our fuel rate surcharge would be 10%. So within this, our options and the recommendation from administration would be that we approve, county council approve the 2026 summer gravel haul contractor hauling rate as presented. 0.950 load factor, 0.1500 ton kilometer, and a 14% fuel surcharge.
Go ahead, Greg.
I just wanted to add to it just a little bit. In our own administration parts, we set this rate once a year and then try to carry it through the year. We can deal with fluctuating percentage rates. We have in the past. If it's fluctuated really bad between the winter and the summer, we've changed the rates. So it can be done for sure. It's just very difficult and very time consuming in our finance department to make those changes, but it can be done. So we strive as much as possible if the rate will stabilize to set one rate for the year and use it for the entire haul, both summer and winter. But I just wanted to give you some background on that.
All right, thank you. Council, any questions? Barry?
So you have the fuel rate surcharge at 14% based on a 146 per liter. These guys aren't buying at retail. They're buying at a commercial rate. So why are we giving them a gift of 14%?
Through the chair, the way that I basically looked at it, and why the recommendation is what it is again, like I mentioned before, we do rely on these contractors. And I, in my opinion, it is a fair rate where we were. And in my opinion, if we price too low, we will be in danger of not having trucks. And so the recommendation did come out as the same. And we just presented the information for you guys.
Further questions? Bo?
Were you going to go through the example for the 24 loads? I believe it was 24 loads, the Public Works and Operation PDF example.
Yep. Through the chair, you're speaking of the second attachment? Yeah. Sure. So it basically, it'll throw in just basically what the prices look like. It's just an example, right, of if we had an 18 ton per load haul, and the haul was an average of 24, and at 10 loads, 180 tons, and it would be 240 kilometers. So when we look at it, you know, with the ton kilometer charge times the ton per load times kilometer, we get our ton kilometer charge of $648. Load factor would be load factor times the total tons hauled. We have $171, and then the fuel surcharge, the sum of cost times fuel surcharge rate of $114.66. So essentially, the hauling, the trucking in that case would be $933.66 for the trucking. We look at the gravel, we had the gravel based on tonnage at $16.90 per ton. So you add those two together, which would give us, I guess, $3,042 of gravel cost. So the grand total on that example of 180 tons, 10 loads, 240 kilometers would be $3,975.66 for that trucker, essentially, that contractor.
Bo?
Yeah, so from these figures here, total hauling and trucking for 10 loads was $933.66. So that's obviously $93 a load for 18 ton delivered 24 kilometers.
Yep, correct.
And that delivery is from the pit, 24 kilometers to the drop site?
Through the chair, yes, that is correct. It would be, they drop right on site when we use contract haulers. They spread for us.
So this $93, is that a fairly safe bet to say that's the average?
I'll maybe take that one through the chair. So this again is just a 24-kilometer trip. As you can imagine, we have a very massive county, and that trip can be quite long. And so that's why the rates are broke out the way they are. They have the ton kilometerage rate is in there, so that, you know, long hauls are paid by the kilometers. If it's a long haul, they can reap a benefit for it for the trucker as well as the short haul. They get more hauls during the day generally, so they can still have a benefit there. And between having those rather than having an average rate where, you know, if it's a long haul, somebody's losing on our end or their end or vice versa. So the way those formulas are put together help average things out so it's a kind of a common rate. I can tell you by looking at the county, a 24-kilometer haul is a very short haul for us. Most of ours are far in excess of that. So this is just an example to give you how the rates fall out.
So it is a realistic example of 24-kilometer haul,
Correct,
$93.
correct.
And then it compounds with distance because of the load factor and the ton kilometer per charge.
That's right.
So it averages out in the long run, is what
I
you're
won't
saying.
say average because that kilometer haul route for long hauls is much larger than it is for small hauls. So I won't say it averages out, but it lengthens out for long hauls for sure. Gets
So it
more expensive.
increases
Their costs are increased, so is their benefit back. Right.
Any further questions? Barry?
We factored in the costing to buy gravel closer, because I know we have pits out of Whitecourt we buy from, and we buy from Scorpion out by Fallis. Have we looked at those options? Even the gravel's higher cost, but if the trucking is lower, have we balanced that out and looked at that option?
Through the chair, absolutely we do. We look at that option every year. So when we do our gravel tenders in the fall, then that's what we do. We do a public tender for all the local suppliers to provide us gravel. We list in the tender which sector of our county and how much tonnage there is so that they know where their gravel is going. When we assess those rates, so our gravel companies only provide a rate for the tonnage of gravel. When that tender comes in, we assess it against the haul because the haul is the big picture for us. It's also a large value. So we assess the haul distance with the pits that have provided costs, and not always the lowest pit price garners an acceptance. Sometimes the higher pit price, but the shorter distance of being hauled comes out to be better benefit to us, so then we make the award for the pit based on that. So it is looked at every year, yes.
Thank you. Ed?
Back to your fuel surcharge, I don't think we need to change the load factor, the ton kilometer stuff, but the fuel surcharge is a common factor in all companies that they change this weekly, monthly. I would say at least we do this on a summer and a winter basis, have two different fuel surcharges. And definitely, I think we need to go with the commercial pricing. These guys are not buying retail fuel. We all know that. This is all commercial cardlock fuel. They're getting their discounts. Even at that average, it's still, today's price is still 10 cents high, right? So that's what I think we should do.
Mike?
Like Ed said, but if we fluctuate, like when I ever got a fuel surcharge, it fluctuated weekly. They just sent us an email, this is what you get this week, and we invoiced accordingly. I don't know on your end how hard that would be, but I feel like Ed's right there. I feel like these guys aren't going to Petro-Can and Onaway to buy fuel.
Further comments? All right, go ahead, Greg.
So just another comment to consider that I would like to put forth as well. If we scroll back to the top where we had other county haul rates, that table, we've listed Parkland, Barhead, Greenview, Sturgeon. So one of the considerations we've always tried to do is to be in line with our neighboring municipalities, because we do have truckers that haul for them or haul for us. So when we're out of line with those, then we become, how would I call it, second fiddle potentially. So those are considerations we make when presenting this data to you as well. So case in point, Parkland, relatively similar load factors, ton kilometers, and fuel surcharge at 15%. If we want to really compete with the truckers and we set ours at 12, Brad's task may be a little difficult for sure, but it's just something I wanted to portray to you because it is real.
Further questions? I do have one myself personally with respect to the policy. And it kind of gives us a rate there. We were talking 126 to 130 for fuel per liter at 10% and 130 to 135 at 11%. So we're basing the fuel price on the $1.46 to $1.50. I'm kind of wondering if that might not be the correct formula on account of the fuel cost currently. And I do understand the ability to attract people. I understand that totally. There are only so many trucks. However, we do have a policy in place. The policy does give a range. So at the very maximum, it would be 12%. Or likely the minimum somewhere around 11 by what I see, to even 10. Not to discount administration by any means for looking at this. I just believe we, at this table, is looking at ways to make sure that we save some money if we can. If we can't, we can't. If we can, we're going to try. The policy's there. I think we should just follow the policy, personally, my personal opinion. Ed?
Yeah, I agree. It's in here in policy, and it should be the commercial rate, though, not the retail rate.
And a second note to my comment would be that if next month, if the fuel jumped up to $1.40 or $1.50, then we would talk to administration to say this needs to be adjusted, understanding the fluctuations that we might see or might not see. Any further questions? Barry?
I agree with Ed as well. If you look at the haul rates between Parkland and Lac St. Anne County, they do have a lower load factor and a lower ton rate than we do too. So either way, the truckers are getting more on the weight side anyhow, and the load factor, the lousy 4%, I don't think is going to kill them because they're making more on the other side anyhow than Parkland would be paying.
Further questions? All right, so then now we're down to the nitty-gritty. And that are our options. The options are that the county council approve the 2026 summer gravel haul contractor hauling rate as presented. First option. Second option, that the county council denies the 2026 proposed summer gravel haul contractor hauling rates and further directs administration to have somebody willing to make a motion.
Sure,
Ed?
I'll make a motion that we deny this 2026 proposed summer gravel haul and further direct administration to change this to average commercial pricing for the season, and we can do that twice a year.
Would that be based on the policy as well?
Through the chair I believe that Councillor Gifford is suggesting that we change the policy and bring the policy back updated. Is that correct?
Ed?
No, I don't think so. I think the policy's there. I think we just change it to that percentage. We follow that percentage table in the policy that we already have. And on commercial rates, so not retail rates.
Okay, Cindy, do we have that? Sorry. Oh, Greg, go ahead.
So yeah, I'll just through the chair, I would just like to maybe clarify with Mr. Gifford or Councillor Gifford. I think what we're looking to try to do here is just revise the rate before you and set it at this point in time. So I would suggest that council's proposal would be that they accept the rates of 0.95 if they so wish, the 0.15 ton kilometer, and then through the data that you have in front of you, suggest the fuel rate you would like to have approved at this time. And then it can be wrapped up and finished. Then we can further look at the policy in future times for sure.
Thank you, Greg. So I'll send that back to you, Ed.
Yeah, I agree. Let's leave the load factor and the ton kilometer all the same. I don't want to touch that. It's the fuel surcharge. And that needs to be the variable in it. Prior to the gravel haul, maybe get 3 or 4 different prices again on the commercial side, and that's what you would base your rate off of.
Go ahead, Greg.
Sorry, so I'll just suggest here, I see on the one table here, we have the commercial price, which was made up of Petrocan Edmonton at 1.279, Co-op Mayerthorpe at 1.33, Co-op Whitecourt at 1.33 for an average of 1.313, which would result in, sorry, I just have to scroll to my table.
Be 11%.
I guess, like,
Correct.
the guys aren't gonna be filling up in Petrocan Edmonton. I would remove that pricing from it to keep it fair, wherever they're gonna be filling up. If they're hauling out of Whitecourt, they're gonna fill up out of Whitecourt, possibly, right? Mayerthorpe, and see if you can get something out of the east on away, and get some pricing on that, and then, make that your average.
Okay, so you would like new pricing, not the pricing that's before you?
I would remove the Edmonton one,
Okay,
cause
so-
that's unfair to them.
Yep, absolutely. So if we set it at the Co-op Mayerthorpe and Co-op Whitecourt are 133. Based on that, and I don't know if you've got that in front of you, Mr. Chair, is it the same rate? So it's still the 11%.
Bo, did you have a question?
I'm just curious, why aren't we using the government price of UFAs?
Greg?
So I would suggest the government price is skewed. So our price is a government price that we receive. We're very high volume users with 135 pieces of equipment throughout our county. We do have some large contractors that work for us, but I'm not sure that they would be at that equivalent value to get those pricings.
Could we not provide them a gas card?
That's not what our gas cards do. Like if you're talking about the UFA gas cards that are handed out, that's not the government pricing that we're reflecting here. The government pricing is volume based on what we purchase.
And I do believe, I think what, where you're coming from is so that in the future, we can look at possible ways to maybe save some more cash. For now, we'll deal with this particular issue, and then we'll put that on the table another time. So we got Ed's motion. So what Ed is saying is that we are going to accept the haul rates, we are going to accept the load factor or the ton per kilometer, but we're going to utilize the policy that's in place for fuel surcharge. And we're going to base that on the commercial rate. Correct, Ed?
Correct.
Okay. Greg?
Sorry, just to be, I just need to be clear direction to us so we make sure we get this right. So can I suggest you set the rate at the fuel surcharge at 11% based on the data we have in front of you for the summer haul? I realize last week we set the winter rate and that is what it is. But I would suggest setting it 11 and then we can get those works completed. And then maybe another agenda item to have the whole policy looked at would be in line.
Ed, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fair, 11%.
Okay, so then that number will be 11%? Okay. For the summer, that's correct, for this haul. Any further comments? Mike?
If all of a sudden, let's say fuel goes to like $1.50 a liter, I think we could bring this back and probably renegotiate it, but for now, I'd leave it here and let's see what the rates do.
Okay, any further comments? I'll call the question. All in favor of Ed's motion? That is carried. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we're on to the next one. Corporate Services, Assessment and Taxation, Appointment of Assessors, or pardon me, Appointment of Assessment Review Board.
Thank you.
Ann, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you through the chair, and please be gentle because I'm pinch hitting for our GM of Corporate Services because she's in the middle of preparing for budget for tomorrow. So this is a pretty standard report. I'm sure you've all read it, and it's an appointment, and the recommendation is that County Council appoint the following as Assessment Review Board officials, and ARB Chairman Raymond Ralph, Certified Clerk Gerald Amorin, and the panelists, Darlene Chartrand, Cheryl Exley, Tina Grosco, Richard Knowles, Marcel LeBlanc, Roland Murkowski, and Raymond Ralph.
Council's had the opportunity to read that. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I would offer a motion by someone.
Yeah,
Jill?
I'll motion option 1 to approve or to appoint the following as Assessment Review Board officials.
That was option 1, I
Yep,
heard.
Option 1.
Further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried as well. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're on to infrastructure, community engagement. We have 10.1 fire apparatus capital budget presentation. Chief Schroeder?
Good morning, Council. I'm here today instead of tomorrow because I'm leaving for holidays. Given the importance of this discussion, I wanted to ensure that you had the appropriate information.
I just wanted to say thanks to Randy and just to remind council that this was something that came up during, I can't remember if it was a budget discussion or a previous meeting, that council wanted some more information on our apparatus plan. So that's what the chief is here to present. It was a requirement of council at a previous meeting. Thank you.
Those of you online will notice that was Jürgen speaking. He looked a little different today, but he was in Mexico.
So Council, what I'm providing today is just an illustrative review of the plan that was sent to you on February the 6th. At that budget meeting, we had a discussion regarding the 2025 carry forward, the looming 2026 capital requests, and then beyond with respect of the capital plan. Council at that time indicated that they did not actually have the plan. There was some question as they hadn't had the opportunity to review it. That was sent to you that day in basic written form. This is just to provide a little bit of an illustration of what the intent of the plan is expected to achieve. Council has all kinds of latitude here. I want to reinforce that with respect to your decision-making process. I have brought forward a series of recommendations that we're quite founded on need and assessment of the current fleet. However, there are options just due to the cost of what the ask is really all about. So what we've done is just a quick overview of the current situation And basically, we're going to start, basically with the two stations that are immediately impacted by the 2025 carry forward request that is now obviously into 2026. So just a little bit on a synopsis of where we're at right now. So I'm going to start with Station 4, which is our Sangudo station. It currently has an engine, which is a 2014 Rosenbauer. It currently has a tanker, which is a part of our greater tanker fleet, a 2005. It has a side-by-side, and it has a squad. And that is our current situation right now. The intent of the current capital ask with respect to this was centered around the engine, basically that is there right now. We were looking to replace that engine, to allow that engine to be relocated to East Fire Station for use there, and replace it with the brand new Type 3 that is currently on the capital list that was approved in 2020 or for 2025 expenditure. What that would enable with that is that's really the first domino that is required to execute the plan in toll with respect to moving East Fire Station, or moving this engine to East Fire Station for use there. It would accommodate this new truck would accommodate the unnecessary replacement of Squad 4. We could actually delete that apparatus, and we would end up with simply the Type 3 and a tanker and the side-by-side and associated trailer. What happens at East? Basically, right now, we've split East into Onaway and East Fire Station. Currently, East has a current rescue that was also scheduled for a replacement in 2027, and it would be replaced with the intended arrival initially of the new apparatus that is currently on your schedule. So this would remain in service. There's also Engine 1. Engine 1 is currently out of service and cannot be brought back into service without significant repair with parts that we have been unable to source. It has been out of service for basically since the early part of November or December. Sorry, I can't remember which month, but it's currently out of service. What the intent of the 2025 plan was, as a reminder, was we were going to, the proposal was an approval for the purchase of a new Type 1 apparatus that was intended to replace Engine 1, leaving Rescue 2. We were going to bring, in order to create that gap and move Engine 4 to East Station for immediate use there, and this is now, the pressure point is really on because Engine 1 is out of service. The intent was that at the end of the capital replacement plan, we would have one used truck and one new truck at East Station for service to the citizens around that region. Additionally, with this is what it would look like at the end of this year's purchases. What we would end up with is we would end up with a Engine 4 there relocated, and either purchasing another used or new or refurbishing Engine 1. That was the intent of this program. That is funded right now. And of course, should you continue to decide to use that funding that is already in place. How does it address the other plan? Well, in 2026, as proposed, we've moved a bunch of apparatus over to that Onaway station. We now have a Sea-Doo, a squad, and a tanker that we moved from Station 5 for the region. We have another side-by-side, and we have this truck being Wildland 2. This truck is a 2004 chassis. It's on its third engine, and it's showing symptoms of failure. So, whoops, wrong one. At the end of 2026, in accordance to your capital plan, we were looking at replacing just the chassis on this truck. Now, that said, it is not an absolute critical. The engine has not failed. We will use the truck until there's an issue, and we will continue to fix the truck at this point, but it is on the schedule for replacement. This skid unit was built in 2017. It's serviceable, and so we simply can replace that. At the end of 2029, if the plan were to go forward as approved, we're only looking at a replacement of the side-by-side that is there. This is a 2007 Kubota, and so we were looking at replacing that with something that carries a little bit better crew. Something comparable, going back to what we already have here at Station 4, that carries a full crew. Okay, so now, outward, what happens at Rich Valley? We start moving things around again. Right now, Rich Valley has a 08 550 for a squad, a 2005 Freightliner, which is our second largest tanker in the county, and a 2003 Freightliner, which was scheduled for replacement. This is a current Type 1. At the end of 2026, we had initially thought with the 2025 purchase, we would purchase the second Type 3 engine with Type 1 capability, a twin to essentially what we were putting in San Guido to replace engine 3, and that one could be sold. At the end of 2029, with the 2028, subject to council approval to replace a couple of units, we could redeploy one, like the existing Command 2 truck as an example, to replace the squad that is there now. So if the plan were to go forward, we would have a pickup truck, this Type 3, and a tanker ready to go out of Rich Valley. Station 5 has a lot of apparatus. We have a lot of space there. We have a side-by-side, 2004. That's scheduled for replacement in 29. We have a tanker similar to what we have at Tanker 2 and Tanker 4. They're all triplets, all same vintage. They're not scheduled for replacement, however, at this point. That's beyond 2030. Engine 5, this is our only front mount. It's the same age as the others. It is a little bit of an anomaly in terms of operation and basically vintage. It had to be on an older chassis. At the time, this was the last FL series that we were able to get because the front mount on the M2 series, there was an engineering issue. They couldn't do a front mount. This truck is scheduled for replacement. We have our structural protection trailer out of this station as well. That's a sprinkler trailer. That's what we do to protect the acreages and the subdivisions and the hamlets in our county. It has a Zodiac boat, which is also scheduled for replacement. And we have a squad there as well. So what does this all mean? Well, at the end of 2025, the crew truck that has been purchased and bought and is currently at Megatech, and that's part of the capital plan update. It's getting lighting right now and equipment. We'll put a wildland pack on it. That will be part of the complement. That's already in the queue. By the end of 2027, we were looking at putting a triplet truck in again, with consideration to replace this larger Type 1 along with the boat. That's on the capital replacement plan. Remaining, everything is in there. This truck here could be stationed there, or we could be moving it depending on need. And by the end of 2029, the final side-by-side. So that's where we're at here. I'm going to leave Station 7 till last. 2026, my command truck is scheduled for replacement as I previously reported. That would be relocated as a logistics truck to East Fire Station at this point. The Command 2 isn't until the end of 2027. Mayerthorpe, as we talked about, currently right now, we have the largest tanker in the county and the only tactical designated tanker in accordance to provincial regulation. That's our largest. We have Engine 6, which is scheduled for and proposed for replacement. This engine is one of the three trucks that, it's identical to Rescue 2 and Engine 1. However, it has 2/3 the hours and 2/3 the kilometers. And then we have our newest side-by-side housed out of that station with associated trailer. There are also the town units that we discussed. The town has a rescue that's owned there and a pump that they have scheduled for replacement. And we also have truck 6, which is used under a cost-sharing agreement. They actually own the truck. We own the equipment on the truck. And then we service the truck and cost share that maintenance with the town and invoice them accordingly. What was proposed was a joint purchase of a potential truck for 2026 and a new truck, which would essentially replace the need to have 2 new apparatus at that station, given that the town is considering replacing theirs, or 2 quality used at this point. So the intent is, if the plan was to go forward, that's what we would be doing. However, this requires some consultation with the town of Mayerthorpe, as has been previously discussed. Their current capital plan, they had this final cost outlaid outwards to 2028. Their truck, just for council's information, was down 122 days due to a similar electronic issue earlier this year. And just due to our operational agreement, we were able to accommodate that with engine 6. And it's gone vice versa a couple times. So at this point, what my, and then final, I should jump right to, and then get in what the actual ask is. We come to Station 7. Station 7 is our smallest station. Many of you have been there. We currently have 2 trucks in that station. First station is designed for 1. We have Wildland 7, which is a 2011 GMC, arguably one of our busiest trucks in the county in terms of its logistical value. It goes everywhere. It's a strategic location in the county. And we have Tanker 7. This was not a custom, this was an off-the-shelf truck purchased in 2011. The station can accommodate those 2 trucks just. However, Wildland 7 is getting pretty tired. So we were proposing, along with the look at a new station at that point, or something that will house both those trucks in that location, subject to council consideration and strategic planning and such. Another Type 3 truck that has a Type 1 capability that would enable to delete Wildland 7 and sell that truck off and keep Tanker 7. So ultimately, we would be looking at those immediate needs, but only after we discuss whether or not there's going to be a station. It's not possible currently right now with the physical size limitation of the station. So that's the ask. We brought this back to council, or we're bringing this back to council because council needed more time to assess the plan, assess the consideration and the heavy cost, and the level of service implications of to do it or not to do it. Essentially, administration is just asking for direction, whatever that may be, to proceed, not to proceed, proceed in whatever, provided a number of options. Is there any questions so far?
Council, any questions?
You proposed that used Type 1 the last time we met. I don't know what council thought of that one. It was, I think, $469 for that truck, I believe.
Yes, I don't have that data there. And what I'll say is I proposed an ideal. I mean, we will, if council sets the direction and a budget amount that I'm looking for, I will commit to sourcing the very best truck within that budget amount that meets our needs. So if that 469 truck may not be available today, but we would find something comparable.
Okay, I just wanted to check on that.
Further questions? Ed?
I guess we just got to, as a council, we got to figure out what we want, what direction we want for the fire service, whether we're buying a used truck, and that will set everything else in motion, whether we buy the new Type 1 for Station 4, or the Type 1.3, sorry, for Station 4, move engine 4 over, that'll set the direction, right? Or buy a new one. That's our 3 options, and we have to decide, and they all come with different prices, right?
And I believe that's exactly what we have to do. And one comment I want to make to the rest of council is that budgeted items in previous years that don't get purchased in that year aren't automatically included in the next budget. So you have to be aware of that as well. And I know several people don't understand that. We think that just because it was budgeted last year by a previous council and it's not been purchased yet, it gets to happen this year. That's not the case. Ann?
Thank you. Through the chair, I, just further to Councillor Vogler's question about the amount and the specifics of the truck, I think we have to, council has to make sure, like Councillor Gifford said, what direction do you want us to go in, and give us a purchase price so that administration can go back and source that out. But we do need some direction and some clarity, so that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely, Bo.
Can we get a copy of this presentation, number one? And number two, I'm a little bit more confused than I was before. So at this point here, I think that we have a budget meeting tomorrow all day, and this needs to get discussed at the budget level. So I would suggest maybe an option 3 for the motion.
And I'm just looking up option 3. What is that option? I don't have it handy.
Option 3 is council defers direction pending further budgeted review and consultation and accept this report as information.
And that is your motion?
Yes. Yes.
Bo made that motion. Ed?
Is this something we can discuss and deal with tomorrow in our budget planning, deliberation stuff?
Thank you. Through the chair, the reason that we asked the chief to come today is the chief is not available tomorrow. So I would suggest that any questions, I think Deputy Chief will be in attendance. Is that correct? And he has the information. But just if you want anything specific from Chief, ask him today because he is away tomorrow. And that's why we want to make sure he gave this presentation today.
Thank you, Ann, for that clarification. Are there further questions then? Ed?
But I think tomorrow will be just a money discussion. It won't be, like, we won't need chief here, right? Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'll call the question on the motion. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Okay, we're moving right along. I'm not sure if anybody needs a break. Need a break? Okay, we'll take 5 minutes. We'll resume. We are going to move to administration, bylaws and policies. Bylaw 27-2019-01-26 to amend the Amerithorpe Intermunicipal Development Plan. Go ahead, Tanya.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this is to amend the Amerithorpe Intermunicipal Development Plan. Therefore, the bylaw number is 27-2019 is the original bylaw number. Then it is the first bylaw amendment of that particular IDP, so it becomes 01-2026. An application was received to redistrict lands located in Lac-Saint-Anne County and within the Amerithorpe IDP. The purpose of the IDP is to ensure that there is common agreement and plans in place on how best to manage the future development and use of lands within county areas that are immediately adjacent to the town of Amerithorpe. The landowner would like to subdivide parcels that are larger than permitted in urban residential, which is the proposed district adjacent to that particular property. As the lands are within the IDP, an amendment to the IDP is required along with the public hearing to amend bylaw 272019 Lexington County and bylaw 1105, which is the town of Merthorpe. Merthorpe Intermunicipal Development Plan bylaw 202019 is hereby amended in the lands described geographically in accordance with attached Schedule A, figure number 4, and described below be amended, redistricted from urban residential to country residential. Country residential will allow for larger proposed parcels. So you would require two motions. Motion number 1 is to amend Merthorpe Intermunicipal Development Plan, IDP, be given first reading. That puts the bylaw number on the books. And then we will schedule a joint public hearing, so there'll be a second motion. Now, I do have an amendment to the motion number 2. Simply to schedule the public hearing for 10 a.m. or 1:15 p.m. on March 26, 2026, based on Town of Merthorpe councillor attendance availability. I've been talking with the CAO today, and he just needs to confirm what time his members are best available, being 10 or 1:15. So we would put it in as both and get confirmation by the end of today.
Or could we just put in the date?
We could just put in the date and just not put the time till I do the notices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions, councilors? No? That would be for the first reading, we could give it, Dave, the option 1.
Yes,
Or
motion
the-
number 1 is to give first reading to amend Merthorpe IDP.
Yeah. Somebody prepared to do that? Barry?
Yeah, I'll make option motion 1 to amend the Merthorpe Intermunicipal Development Plan, be given first reading.
Further questions? All in favor? That is carried.
Jenny, can you go back? We didn't do motion
Number 2, yeah. So then motion number 2, Mr. Chairman, that a joint public hearing with the town of Merthorpe for bylaw 272019012026, which is the Lexington County bylaw, and we'll do a joint mail out with the town of Merthorpe for the March 26th meeting. We just won't put the time in, and it'll reference both their bylaw number and Lexington County bylaw number. We'll advertise it in Lexington Bulletin, and we'll place it on the county website as well.
Mike makes motion number 2. Quick comment, Ann, will you be here? I know I won't, so. Okay, thank you.
Can I just say something?
Any, go ahead, Ann.
I just wanted to say thanks. This was actually an example of regional collaboration with the town, and we are working on solving a problem. So we really appreciated the council from the town of Merthorpe and the CAO and his staff. It was really well done and very speedy, so we appreciate that.
That's great. I think if we could convey that back from the county's aspect, I think that would be awesome as well. Any further comments? I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried as well. Thank you. Now we're going to go to bylaw number 2, bylaw 03-26, Sangudo Utility Bylaw. Brian, you have the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Reeve and rest of council. Today we are with you with bylaw 03-2026, the Sangudo Utility Bylaw. We received first reading on February 12th, 2026. We're before you seeking second and third reading for this bylaw. The attachment shows a estimated average monthly billing estimated at 8 cubic meters per use, and we're seeking your approval for the second and third reading of the bylaw as attached, and I'm available for questions.
Questions, council? I do have one. We have nobody appealing or saying they didn't like it.
Nothing to date.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept that.
Yep,
Jill?
I'll do option 1, please.
Thank you, Jill. All those in favor? That is carried.
Through you, the chair, that would have been second reading, so I'm also seeking third reading as well, so there'll have to be a separate motion for third reading.
That is correct. So now I need
I'll make the motion for
third
third reading.
third reading as well. Jill? Questions? All those in favor? That is carried.
Thank you, council.
Sorry, 04-26 solid waste utility bylaw.
Thank you, Deputy Reeve and rest of council. I'm here seeking second and third reading for bylaw 04-2026. It received first reading on February 12th, and the attachments give you a historical rate. And it shows the new value for the 2026 cards will be $209.82. We are seeking second and third reading, and I'm available for questions.
Questions, council? Ed?
Same as the last, was there any discussions or calls regarding the first reading?
Through the chair, we did not receive any information.
Thank you. So I'd entertain a motion. Ed? And that will be for the second reading. All in favor? That's carried. Third reading, Mike? Any questions? All in favor? That's carried as well.
Thank you, council.
Okay, we are just rolling right along today, which is what I had hoped. Item number 4, Chief Administrative Officer Performance Review Process Policy 01-018. Ann, you have the floor.
Good morning, everybody. One of the most important things in local government is the relationship between council and the CAO. As their one employee, all direction flows through the CAO to the staff. Having a clear indicator on how we set out expectations for the CAO is something that's critically important. As a new council and a new CAO, having these policies in place is really critical, and making sure that council can meet with the CAO and talk about the expectations and the milestones and if they're being met through council's strategic plan and through our corporate plan, it's critically important. Section 205 of the MGA states that every council must establish the position of Chief Administrative Officer for a municipality, and also that a performance appraisal should be done every year. When I was hired, this council indicated that they would like more check-ins than less, and I think that is important. Council has to trust that the CAO is doing their position, but also because I'm responsible for all of the administration, it is challenging for council to be on the sidelines, giving directions, trusting that I'm going to do my job. So having this in place will also show the public how important it is that you're holding me accountable and that I'm holding staff accountable. So I've put the report forward to you. I've got a policy draft there, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you very much. We have questions from council? Barry, did you have one? Okay. Well, I won't rush you. Now, I will add one thing, Ann. I noticed that in this particular document, our future, and what I'm speaking, our future, say 4 or 5 years out, is there a section in there that specifies that we have a replacement or that we have a succession plan
No,
specifically?
this policy is just to talk about performance appraisals of the current.
Okay.
Yeah. Succession planning is something that's another aspect that really should be looked at all the time. In my position, the senior leadership team should be very strong. And I've always found it my experience that your senior leadership team is the next level down and should be able to step up and step in and fill in when I'm not here or something happens.
So that discussion can happen in a different avenue
Yes.
or
Yep.
venue.
Yep.
Barry, did you figure it out? Okay. All right, council, I think it's in order to entertain a motion. And that would be Mike? Mike is making the motion, option 1, that the county council adopt the CEO performance evaluation policy 01-018 as presented. Further comments? See none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Ann.
Okay.
Now, we have number 5, Council Administration Communication Policy 01-019. And Ann, you're going to speak to that as well?
I will. Similar to, these are kind of in tandem. It's really important for everything to flow communication-wise through the CAO. The reason for this is because of the fact that I'm the one employee to council, but also for myself to make sure that I'm tracking the requests from council, that I'm tracking requests from the public, and making sure that the right person is deployed to do the investigation, the response. There is a section in there that talks about information from council. I will address that because it seems to be sometimes a question. We are open, we are accountable to council, but we have to be mindful, and myself as somebody who's responsible for the dollars for the workforce, that I need to deploy our workforce. So if a member of council comes and asks a question, and if it's very extensive, then I have the job to come back to council and say, that's going to take too many man-hours. Is it just Councillor so-and-so that wants this, or is it all of council? Because we have to remember that we work for all of council as a whole. And so we get our direction at council meetings by resolution, by bylaw, by direction to staff. So this policy just clearly lays out all those parameters. If we have a member of council that is asking for a lot of information, it will come back to council. Council will be able to look at it and say, yes, that's something we want you to spend our time with. And then I get the unenviable job of saying, okay, if our plate's this full and you want us to look at this, what's dropping off now?
Further comments? And I think that's very valuable, and I think as a new council, it does give direction, and it also, there gives leniency as well, because council has to feel free to be able to ask questions, but there's a fine line between the question of a simple question to a more complicated question. And we could have those conversations right at this council table at the day of a meeting and literally talk back and forth and then come up with a direction for you to say, okay, I will make sure that infrastructure gets the answer for us. And I think that's what we're looking for. I think, you know, we have probably the odd time stepped out of that realm, not realizing that we did. And I think we do know that now. We certainly don't ever intend to direct staff, but to get information to help on a decision that might be coming forward to council, I think we have to look at the fact that probably those questions would come forward at council. So today, when we're here today, this is where we would ask the question. And that way you can determine, okay, then you can actually say at that particular meeting, well, I have somebody sitting right here that can make that, give you the answer. here's the answer.
And one of the things too, I would say to that point, we have to be careful because, and I've often told staff here and other locations that if you're not sure, don't answer just to answer, because we want to make sure council is getting the best information to make the decisions that you have to do. Like, your jobs are hard enough sitting around that horseshoe because you're trying to make these decisions into the future of Lac St. Anne County, and you've got to make good visionary decisions with a very small pot of money and very small workforce to get it done, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing the best for you so that we give you the information to make the good decisions. And this policy lays it out. But one other thing I will say, and we all know this, the policy is only as good as the people who are applying it. We don't want it to be overly prescriptive. We want it to be workable, but we also want to do our jobs well for you. Yep.
Or thank you. Any further comments? Well, I'd entertain a motion on an option then. Ed?
Yeah, option one, county council adopt the county, the council administration policy 01019 as presented.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, those in favor? That is carried. Bo, did you vote? Thank you very much. Oops, sorry. I turned my mic back on unless I didn't get it. That was finance policy, reporting policy, AIR-3164. Ann?
Thank you through the chair. This is clearly something that came from council. This council has indicated they want to be more open and transparent about what we're doing. And the financial reporting policy has never been in place before. We haven't had one. So this is a brand new policy for council to consider. We always pay major attention to property tax rates, but that's a small piece of a series of factors. Some are within the control of council, like long-range strategic planning and visioning, annual budget decisions, which we're going to be delving in again tomorrow. What are the priorities for the year? And we want to make sure that council, because you're in charge of the budgeting and the financing, that you have the ability to look at where we're at least on a quarterly. And by putting this on paper, we make sure that you hold us accountable to have those reports brought forward. This policy is pretty straightforward. We're trying to make sure we streamline our policies so they're user-friendly for us, but also for the public and for council to understand.
Thank you, Ann. And that's awesome where we're going to get it down where we will actually see. Any other comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Mike? Option one, that the county council adopt the financial reporting policy as presented. Further comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried as well. County manager.
Thank you. Through the chair. At the February 5th meeting, I gave a verbal update, but we couldn't make decision because it was a governance and priority committee meeting. So I'm bringing this back, and there's been some discussion on what exactly is the governance and priority committee. Do we need it? Is it effective? The governance and priority committee is actually functioning similar to a committee of the whole. And in some larger organizations, they use the committee of the whole to have discussions from various standing committees or discussions on subject matter. Because of the size and also because we also have 2 meetings a month, I am recommending that we remove the governance and priority committee, and this is the formal recommendation. If council does want to proceed with this, I would ask that you direct us to come back with a updated procedural bylaw because it is in there that we have a governance and priority committee.
Exactly. Questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Jill?
Yeah, I'll do option one to county council.
Option
abolish
one, that the county council abolishes the governance and priorities meetings effective immediately and direct administration to amend the procedural bylaw for adoption by county council. Further comments? Call the question. All in favor? That is carried.
Thank you. I think it'll help with the public perception too, because we do get the odd question about what's happening, why aren't council making decisions? Because it looks just like a council meeting, so I think this will be clear. My hope is that the procedural bylaw comes back in March. I won't commit to a date, but I'm hoping for the 12th.
Okay, thank you. There was one thing added, and I didn't record it
It's
properly.
update on outstanding capital projects.
Okay, there we are. Thank you.
But I just have to find out where. We're too fast. Okay. Oh. We are doing the budget tomorrow, and we've been through the process since I arrived 7 weeks ago. One of the things that we do notice is that we are sitting with a large surplus from 2025. I've asked the team to talk about these outstanding capital projects and where they're at, and I wanted to make sure council was aware of this before we go into our budget meetings tomorrow, but also that the public's aware of it as well, too. These capital projects were approved in 2025, so then council will have to make the decision, are they too long of, down the process? Does council want to continue? Because there will be the request to carry over the funds from 2025. The first is under road transportation. I might throw this over to Greg if you want to. Yep, come on up. I didn't warn him, so.
It's okay.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
So the first project I am reporting on here is the Spruce Lane Subdivision Base and Pave project. So our engineering consultant was D&A Polachek Consulting Limited. And the contractor was Park Paving Limited. Construction was completed in the summer of 2025. There was a small deficiency holdback for some asphalt cracking that was identified during the final inspection. That will be addressed this spring during the final acceptance certificate. We have a year warranty on it before we are releasing the contractor from responsibility, so that will be done this summer. So any imperfections will be perfected at that time, and then the project could be closed and as complete. The deficiency, as I mentioned, was noted for some small cracking that was identified. The contractor and consultant will review it in the summer, and the project was slightly under budget. I didn't have the number exactly for you here right now, but it was under budget. So.
Will we have that for tomorrow, Ann?
Yep.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry. You bet. So the next project I have before you here is the cold storage fire replacement project. This project was being run by our insurer, our RMA Insurance. The contractor was Service Master out of Edmonton. And the subcontractor was Integrity Builders. Project is complete. The building is currently in use as of approximately February 6th, 2025, or 2026, sorry. And this was a replacement for the fire structure that was burnt down a little over a year ago. So the new building has been reinstated in our insurable assets. And Brad and Stewart, the manager of Public Works, and Fleet are jointly managing the use of this building moving forward. Before I move on to other projects, are there any questions on that project?
Any questions, council? Seeing none, carry on.
The next project I have here before you is the Township 540 Range Road 31 to 32. Again, the engineering consultant was DA Polachuk Consulting. Contractor was Barcy Construction Limited. We had some outstanding finish works which will be completed in the spring of this year, some landscaping, some topsoiling, a little bit of seeding. And as well, we held back some of the granular base installation on it because we were opening the road under freezing conditions. We wanted to make sure we had the appropriate means to address that in the spring, so it was purposeful that we held back some of that quantity. So again, in the spring, those finish works will be completed, the additional gravel will be placed and topped up, and then final inspections will be completed as well. A couple of weeks ago, there was a mention from councilors that there was a dip or settlement in the roadway. So our consultant and our contractor and ourselves went out and reviewed the site. They didn't see anything alarming. They did come across one area where it looks like probably snow removal conditions may have scalped some of the gravel, which is just an imperfection that can happen on any one of the roadways, and that can be fixed up in the spring as well. But there was no permanent dips that they saw that needed to be reported. But again, we're doing full inspection in the spring when the road is opened up. So if there's something that does come up, we will be able to address it.
Questions from council? Barry?
You said there's a holdback on that until we get the final work finished?
So there's no holdback on this one, but there are some unpaid quantities because he hasn't completed some works. The other project I had a holdback on.
Okay. Mike?
And that final inspection will be done like well after frost is gone, I would assume, eh?
Yeah, there won't be any work done to that roadway until well after frost is done as well. Whether it's landscaping or graveling, we won't do until spring, summer.
Further questions on that one?
I have one more. Why didn't we do a holdback if the project wasn't completed yet?
Typically, deficiency holdbacks are identified for works that we know are insufficient. None of the works that they've completed to date that we've paid them for are insufficient, but we do have quantities we have not paid them for works they have not completed. So we have amounts in there that, you know, if they run from the project, we can still complete it with the available monies that we have. We also have insurance and bonding on the project if things go sideways, but those are always last resorts.
Okay, yes, I'm curious to see a compaction test in that road in the spring.
Through the chair, I can report compaction testing was completed throughout the entire project. And for any failed tests that were identified, subsequent positive tests were were completed before moving forward. So we do have all those reports that are in file.
Thank you. Bo?
So there will be compaction tests done in the spring before, on the final inspection?
So through the chair, compaction testing is actually a mechanism that is done during construction. And for explanation purposes, a small lift of fill will be put on, say 6-8 inches in depth. It will be compacted, it will be moisture conditioned and treated such. We would do a nuclear densometer test based on the soils that were provided there and get an indication as to the percent density of that soil. So no, in the spring, we won't have any reason to do that because all of those tests were completed. But what we can deal with is the driving surface. It's a visual inspection, we can deal with those.
Further questions? Okay, we can move on then.
Sorry, one last item I wanted to mention on that one is the project as well is slightly under budget. We don't anticipate that changing once all the works are completed either.
Thank you.
Range Road 33, so this is again Range Road 33 from, I would say from Val Quinton to our border with Parkland County. So this is a project that we were approved to do some preliminary engineering works, obtain some lands, detailed design, environmental assessments and approvals, and bring that to a tender-ready state. So right now, the engineering consultant again is DA Polachuk Consulting. Preliminary design drawings are nearing completion. The geotech work's done, the survey is done. Currently, land agents are continuing to negotiate road widening lands with the adjacent landowners, so that's underway. Our environmental assessments and approvals are complete, and we've paid the appropriate monies to Alberta Environment in that regard already. So it's currently on budget, and we anticipate that once the land is closed, then we will have completed estimates for you for moving forward for construction, if council so chooses, and for looking for funding and tendering at that time if you so choose. But again, this phase is just for the detailed design and land.
Questions? I have one. Where is that one in the capital budget?
Yep, so that one, I believe we've just put it forward a year until we decide with you for some capital planning as to what projects are important as well. So we will have a number of them in the queue. It's actually a very good position to be in, to have a few design-ready, I call them shovel-ready projects, so that when funding is available or when you're ready with to move forward, that we can. Because as you can see, this pre-design stage can take upwards of a year or more to be due. And all of a sudden, when you try to cram that all in 1 year with construction, it's really not doable. So having these designs done is putting the county in a good position to be shovel-ready, depending on the direction council chooses.
Thank you. Bo?
So pre-design is completed on this?
This phase is pre-design and detail design.
Okay. What kind of percentage are we looking at on the pre-design stage of the total budget on something like this?
So that's yet to be fleshed out. So once detailed design is done, we'll have a better indication as to the more accurate dollars for construction. But projects such as this can range anywhere from 8 to 20% can be your engineering, depending on how complex the project is. So once we get done this detailed design phase, we'll be able to show you very healthily where that is at. I can tell you with the consultants that we have working on these, we are usually on the lower end of that scale rather than the higher end.
Mike?
What's the shelf life of these designs? Like if we decide that there's no money in 2027, are these designs still good in 2028, 2029, or do they just have like a 30-day quote or whatever type of deal?
So yeah, there's no quotation, it's just an estimate of that time period. So as an example, if this project, which I fully intend will complete in 2026, and say there's, you know, in 2026 dollars, it's deemed as, I'll throw out a number because I don't know what this one is, $2 million. So that is in 2026 dollars. If it waits for 4 or 5 years and then comes back, you would want to readjust those numbers for the current day standards. But the design itself, unless requirements on behalf of the county change, or unless the intended use of the project changes. Case in point, if we're designing a typical gravel road, and then all of a sudden in 6 years' time we want that to be a paved road, that's a total different condition. But if the conditions are the same, it's on the shelf, it's readjusted to current day dollars, and away you roll. So the design is usually good for long periods of time.
No, that answered. I just didn't want to throw, you know, if it's, let's say it's 10% of the total cost and you decide not to do it for 2 years, now you got to go back and spend another 10%. Now you're at 20% just on engineering fees, right? So, I mean, obviously if things change, it would fluctuate a bit, but.
So I maybe will qualify as well, if I think can, Mr. Chair. So when we're talking about percent of construction for engineering, consulting, and all of those types of things, usually you're looking at a cradle-to-grave project, pre-design, detail design, and construction fees, and that's, you'll be, you know, 8 to 15% is usually a range that you will be in depending on the complexities. This component is only pre-design and detail design, so that's probably around the 5% range, because you will spend majority of your dollars on inspections and testing and all of that during construction.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Ann.
Just another plug for asset management plan, but if you had a complete asset management plan and your road plan was part of that, then you would know which roads were on the top, the most critical, and you could then do your design that way. And of course, if funding comes, you can pull one up or the other, but having that in place would really help council make decisions.
So when are you getting that done?
Tomorrow. Whoops, that mic was on when we laughed.
Go ahead, Greg.
So yeah, to wrap that up, we had a price quote for our consultant to do this type of work. We are still under budget and on budget for this, so I don't anticipate any issues.
All right, thank you.
And I have one more project to present to you, Township Road 540, and that's from Range Road 15 to 20, so that's on our eastern border. It's a 1-mile roadway. And this is a road where, you know, the percentage of engineering might be different on this one because it is an extremely complex road. So again, engineering consulting is DA Polachek Consulting. The preliminary design drawings are nearing completion. Geotech is done, surveys are completed. This one is essentially in the exact same status as Range Road 33. The land agents are still continuing to negotiate with the landowners in there. It's a little, I would say it's a little more complex than Range Road 33 because we're dealing with some large tracts of lands on 33 with farming and ranching. On Township 540, we're dealing with a lot of country residential lands, so it's a little more complex to get those agreements, but they're underway with our land agent. Again, this phase is currently on budget, and we should be seeing in 2026, we will see the design completed. Hopefully the land is positive in our behalf that we obtain the lands. Again, the environmental approvals have been completed and we paid our environmental fees on the project. This is a little different plan. It is only a 1-mile section of roadway, but it's probably, as a rough estimate, double the cost of a typical roadway because we have a large ravine with Kalini Creek that we're going through, and we also have a large hill that we have to cut down with country residential lots on either side. So originally our plan had this in 2 phases when you're ready to move to construction. So again, this phase is only for detailed design, and then it's up for negotiations with the current council. Our previous mindset with administration was this would be a 2-phased approach because if we split it into 2 phases, we can possibly go for some funding. So typical funding for roadways won't cover paving projects, but they will cover base projects, so original construction and base. So our plan would be that phase 1, grading and base works, would possibly apply for funding, and that'd be year 1, complete that design or complete that construction. Year 2 could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, and then complete a paving works. So you would touch up the base and pave it for year 2. Those 2 phases would likely cut the construction costs in half by phasing it that way. Again, we're currently on budget with it, with the engineering design portion. There's still one outstanding piece, critical piece to this puzzle, which we're dealing with Brian's group, and there is a bridge on Kalini Creek that would need refurbishment in and around the same time we want to go to construction, and that's with our current asset management plan, and we will assess it and try to bring it to the right time fold for it. But the construction dollars we're dealing with here is separate from the bridge construction.
Good, thank you. Any questions, council? Nope.
I just want to say to council, this will be Greg's last council meeting with us, and he's moving on, and I just want to say thank you. Okay.
Absolutely, thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg, for your hard work.
While we're getting the general manager of infrastructure up, I will just go through the fire because I think the chief's gone. The exhaust scrubbers, they're awaiting installation quote through facilities, and these are the projects that are outstanding from 2025. The fire engine type 3, the crew truck, and the fire engines, we heard the chief give those explanations this morning. So that'll be discussed again tomorrow in the budget process. Thank you.
Brian, go ahead.
Through the chair, just like 3 bridge projects that we can update you on. Bridge file 9350 was the one that collapsed due to a farming accident. It's currently in the court system in the province of Alberta. RMRF is our legal counsel. If you want any more technical data, I would suggest we go in camera for that discussion. We're just discussing with the Crown the final compensation in terms of value. So we have some discussions about what the true value to date of loss was, and there's some discussions back and forth with the Crown. Bridge file 02079 is a 2025 capital approved project, and we're complete with engineering, and it's going to tender in early 2026 and will be completed in the 2026 calendar year. And 09312 is part of the 2025 capital project as well. All engineering is complete and it's going to tender early in 2026 and will be completed by the end of 2026.
Any questions, council?
Sorry, my question was, did we receive any grant funding for either of any of these bridge files?
Yeah, so those are just covered under our CFIB funding as we receive every year through finance.
Thank you. No questions? Bo?
Just a comment, on all these projects, can we get a list of these and the state they're at and the amounts and all that good stuff? Thank you.
Through the chair, what I'm working on for council is a list of capital projects, status update and where they're at, and kind of just a high-level overview so that you can see that,
And that-
hopefully next week.
And that'll include the dollars and cents and everything for our budget?
Yes.
Any further questions? Okay, well, I guess that we accept that for information. A motion? Mike? Option one, accept that for information. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, so now we are on to a new part, that county council and committee updates. In the past, we felt that county council and the public needs to know what we're doing and all those sorts of things, so this is the first time, and I believe, Bo, you have something to present? And I know I do as well.
Yes.
So, if we can get it up on the screen.
Did we get copies for council of the presentation? Ann, do we have copies for the council?
Yes. We emailed them to everybody, but we can certainly print them. Yeah. Do you want to take 5 and you can do that, or?
Are you ready, Bo? Sorry?
No, we're gonna take 5. Sure. I'm good with that.
It's totally up to council. Okay, we're gonna break for lunch. It's 11:53. Be back in 1/2 hour. We're all ready to roll? Okay, call the meeting back to order at 12:39. So this is a part of the council meetings where councilors will update the rest of council on the commissions that they may sit on or the organizations. We have 2 that I know of to do 2 presentations today. One is from Bo about some of the ones he sits on, and I have one as well on one of the ones that I sit on. So it might give you an idea of what to bring forward, and maybe you'll do a better job than I will, which would be great that way. So Bo, would you like to go ahead?
Okay, so basically, I sit on the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance, the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance, the Lake Isle Lac St. Anne Stewardship Society, the WQ2, which is a newly formed steering committee of LaSilla, which is Lac St. Anne Lake Isle Watershed Alliance. And in the last meeting, which was February 20th, this last Friday here, I got to sit in on the meeting for the Sturgeon River. And during that meeting, as I thought, I was pretty confused when I first sat on these 4 different boards as to how they actually related to each other and how they work together. So during this meeting, we had an update from Bernie, the LaSilla chair, and during that update, he mentioned that we had the support of almost every municipality around our area. The only one we didn't get the support from was Parkland County, as they decided during their council meeting that they believe that the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance should be running the lead in the lake management plan for Lac St. Anne. So the need for clarity was clear, And we decided to put together an informational package together, briefing everybody where these committees are, what they've done in the past, and what the future is for them. So that's what this package is here. That's up on the screen. And we'll go through that after I finish with this little quick introduction. And in this package, you'll find pretty much all the information you need to get caught up to speed to where they are. So it was identified through our courses at AUMA, and one of the things that was identified was the surface water management is to become a priority under the Water for Life program with as much credence as the solid waste and the potable water. This provides an excellent opportunity to incorporate our surface water management plans and our lake management plans in Lac St. Anne County to include a weir system and possibly maintain and manage Lac St. Anne in order to have a controlled reservoir for future drought years. We're experiencing probably the biggest reduction in water levels I've seen in the last 30 years in Lac St. Anne here. And if we had some sort of retention to hold back some water for these times, we could make the bridge across the low periods and actually do good things with that water as well. During the releases, one of the problems that Tribe Village has experienced is low water levels with their lagoon system and the flushing of their lagoon. And that also forced Lac St. Anne County to redesign our wastewater plan as well. Controlled release from Lac St. Anne through the weir system could possibly help alleviate this kind of issue. When considering how future development can spur economic growth and tourism, another major consideration is to be able to maintain the growth of Lac St. Anne. Our real estate market in Lac St. Anne tends to be a revolving door. What I mean by that, it does not increase our overall population. People come, people go, so we maintain kind of an average population. Many move away from Lac St. Anne County for the convenience of living in Spruce Grove or Stony Plain, even Parkland County. And that hasn't been a benefit. And the reason they're moving away is because of the high taxations and also what we can possibly provide them and their families. So basically, LaSilla and WQT Q2 have prepared this informational package for our council here to review and to understand the efforts of the organizations. This is an ongoing project, and WQ2 started in the fall of 2025. And I commend these two organizations for their progress in this very short amount of time and the work that they completed. Some of that work is detailed throughout this package, and there's also website links to both of their websites, which are very informational, and they have all this information in files there ready for access and viewing. So just going over this presentation quickly, we'll just run through it page by page, starting at the beginning. So the first part of it is basically an informational letter from LaSilla, giving us background, their strategic alignment with the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance, how they build value and resiliency, financial requests and impacts. So, and then a conclusion. And in the conclusion, it mentions that supporting the WQ2 project, sorry, I just lost place there, is an investment in the social, environmental, and economic future of Lac St. Anne County. By building on the foundation of the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance, we can ensure our lakes remain the heart of our community for generations to come. And I think that's the intent of these organizations, is to ensure that we take care of our watersheds properly and maintain them as well. So I hope you all will take the time to read through this. There's all sorts of pictures in here from when the flooding was in place. Actually, if we go to page number 6, it's the start of the pictures. And we can see right here at the bridge of Lac St. Anne County Bridge at the Sturgeon River outflow from Lac St. Anne. This is a picture from 2020. This picture was actually taken before the problem got really disastrous and more reeds actually plugged that outlet of the lake. On the next page, which is page 7, you can see how rapidly the water's moving, how wide that channel is, how much water is being held back by this narrow little area. And that is what makes it a perfect opportunity to incorporate a weir into our watershed. On page 7 as well, there is a picture of some damages. And what these damages resulted from was a high water level prior to these pictures. And what was going on is it was trying to get around and over top of the barriers, which is the reeds, the existing weir, and it caused damage to the bank of the bridge structure. And it wasn't until the holes started appearing and the bank disappeared. In this picture on page 7, you can see a bunch of infill material. Now that was placed there because the rest of the material was washed away. So on page 8, you can see how it was removed. They used an excavator or track hoe to actually remove the blockage of the reeds and the cat's tails and everything else that plugged the weir. And when they did remove that, it did solve the problem with the high level waters. You got to remember in 2020, we had probably the highest water levels in very, very long time. And that caused severe damage to all of the shoreline and all of the bed of Lac St. Anne. Restoration was necessary for the majority of the residents along the lake shore. They had to get permits, had to restore their shorelines, and then the water disappeared. So the question was, where did the water go? And nobody really knows, but on page 9, you can see the result. In page 9, that's the same bridge, the same location where the weir is, and it's totally dry. The only thing holding water back at this point is, again, the plug in front of the weir. And that plug is an annual thing. It's reeds, cat's tails, all sorts of debris floating into the channel and creating an artificial or natural weir, I guess you'd call it. So the benefit of having a weir would be we'd be able to go in there and we'd be able to maintain that area and keep that free of debris and keep a reasonable amount of water in the lake where we can actually launch boats at the boat launch, because we can't at this point. The water level is so low, any boat larger than 14 feet, say, has problems launching. And that's the same with all of our boat launches. Lake Isle, on the other hand, is overflowing. So now we have a problem where we have one lake that's got too much water, another lake that doesn't have enough water. And the only thing stopping the water from transferring through the system is the Sturgeon River beaver dams. There's different ways that can be dealt with, and I believe that the WQ2 has come up with some solutions that might be advantageous without eradicating the beavers. Now, the plan is still in its infancy state, and I do believe they've done a tremendous amount of work since the fall of 2025. And they're on the right path. So I believe that they need some support from our council and possibly have a look at including a weir or a lake management plan within Lac St. Anne County as well. So that's pretty much it for the report. And if you have any questions, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring back these committees and these alliances, being the North Saskatchewan, the South, the Sturgeon River, Lacilla, and the WQ2 representatives to a meeting in the future with more technical responses and advice and direction going forward. So that's something I'd like to see happen within the next month or so. And if council's okay with it, I'd like to invite him to do a presentation.
Thank you, Bo. Are there further questions? Ann?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, Councillor Knish, for the presentation. And I would love them to come, and I think it would be really beneficial, probably for me, but maybe for the public too, because I'm a visual learner. Like, how are these organizations interconnected? So when they come, if they could kind of before they get into their thing, just a high-level document about who's in each group. And we can certainly help with that too, if needed.
That sounds great. Yeah, the structure basically, North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance and the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance are basically information gathering groups that provide funding for studies and environmental studies and other valuable information that is provided to groups such as LaSilla. LaSilla can utilize those documents at any point in time and work within their parameters and their scopes to ensure that we're on the same path. And I think it's very critical that we are, because downstream we have a lot of communities, including St. Albert, who have a vested interest in the Sturgeon River. We do realize that, and we do believe it would be benefit for them as well.
All right, well, thank you. Okay, so now I have a little bit of a report. Oh, we have somebody? Sorry, Ann.
Yeah, to the chair, are we giving direction then that we want them to coordinate for them to come back to a council meeting?
I would think that would be in order if that's what, they can make a motion. Would you like to do that? Bo makes a motion that we have them have the, I don't know how to pronounce that one. Lilsa, come and present to us. I think it'd be a great idea. Yeah.
Yes, and in that invitation, I'd also reach out to the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance and the Sturgeon River Watershed Alliance for their background information, and also the WQ2 representatives on that committee.
Okay, Cindy got that motion? Yeah. Any further comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried, okay. Thank you, Ann. Okay, so mine isn't quite as long, but I do have, did attend what's called the West Interlake Water District. I think I get it right, and it's called WILD by short. And we spoke of future planning, and I knew we were in the middle of future planning as well. So I thought it'd be advantageous if we could show the map of what WILD is doing and where they are with respect. Now, I apologize, it's kind of hard to see, but there we go. So that's where it starts. This system starts from Stony Plain. It heads down through catching up to, is it 633? I believe it catches 633. That's Highway 43, which goes to Onaway. Then it goes up Highway 33 to the Rich Valley School. And I made the comment to them, you know, we're looking at our future plans, and is there a possibility that maybe for those folks around Lackland Nunn might be able to be connected to this system? But I said, my whole purpose is so that we, both groups, understand where they are and what they're thinking. We do have subdivisions around the lake, which is Lac St. Anne, if you want to move that, right there. We also know that there's going to be a future complex somewhere in that neighborhood of Alberta Beach. We currently, so that's where the water goes now, and it actually goes all the way over to Entwistle. Go ahead, Mike.
Quick question, that yellow line, that's completed or is that future?
Completed. This is a completed diagram. Okay. This is actually what is there today. And so when we talk about our future plans, if we could utilize this information for our development, it would be advantageous because that is already there. Now, there was some comments, and there were some that I thought it would be a good idea if I could get Dwight from the WILD organization to do a presentation to council as well. I did reach out to him. We reached out to him and started the initial negotiation, if that'd be possible. He has said it's possible. And he can explain the whole history there were comments at, around the council table worrying that the county of Lac Saint Anne is contributing financial money to it. They are not. There was, in the beginning, which is back about 2003, the group got together and at that time created a group that did put seed money in at that time to get the project going. It's totally self-sustainable right now. But they kept the members, so that, which is county has one seat, which I represent the county on, just to monitor the operations so that both the founding members understand and are also actually in control. We can vote, so, I mean, if the, something is not that we don't think, we have the opportunity to vote. So Dwight did say he would come. We had had a tentative date, but he had another meeting, so I think between Brian, if I could ask that we could work with him so we could organize, actually, Ann, if you'd ask Brian to organize that date, that would be great. The second one that I'm involved with is Highway 43 East Waste Commission. That particular one I felt would be really advantageous for the same thing where we would get that Highway 43 East Waste to come to our meeting and tell everybody what we're doing, and also it'd be at a public meeting so the public also understands these things. And I think Bo went to great extent to get his done. I'm going to let the administration do mine. So I myself, I was unclear on that, what was going on, and I think after we get all the commissions to come and report to us, we'll be clear on the mandates, clear on what it's costing us, clear on direction, and I think it'd be a great idea. So I would make them, yes, Ann?
Thank you. I just agree with that. And I think it's really beneficial for council looking at all the boards, committees, and commissions, and that reports in the process. But this is really helpful, and I think helpful for the public too. But even in our larger discussion of service and service provision, I think all of these things that we're doing and sitting on and contributing to or not, it's valuable time for council. So what is the benefit of it? I think it's really good idea to have them come and present.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you turn my mic on? I'd like to make a motion that we invite Wild Water to present to the council and also have Highway 43 East Waste do the same thing. Mike? Mike makes a motion, all right. Any more discussion? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Now the Lacombe thing.
Just a procedural thing, if the other counselors can go through their lists as well too. The other counselors, if they can just talk about what they did all month.
Sorry, Barry?
Yep, okay, so, obviously we did council orientation on the 3rd, strategic planning, governance priorities meeting, budget meeting. We attended the Pembina District 3 meeting. We had another budget meeting on the 11th. We had governance priorities on the 12th. The 19th, we did a OMRC general meeting just to get our ducks in a row. We did the county council meeting on the 26th and then another budget meeting tomorrow on the 27th.
Mike?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same list, I guess. I did was part of the Lac-La-Nun council meeting there. We did council budget orientation on the 3rd, strategic planning on the 4th, governance priority meeting the 5th, and campground fire service on the 6th, and then Pembina Zone 3 meeting was just a Zoom meeting on the 9th, budget meeting on the 11th, council meeting the 12th, RMA webinar on the 18th. I listened in, and then I was part of that ORMC orientation meeting on the 19th, which was, I think, a good start to that.
Just for the public's sake, could you say what ORMC stands for? Thank
Oh,
you.
that's sorry, yeah, the ORMC is short for Onaway Regional Medical Clinic that me and Barry are part of. We had a little orientation meeting, looking to see, trying to find out where that's at and what we can do to move it forward. And then the 25th, as part of the East End Bus Society, which is the seniors bus, we had a little meeting about that yesterday. We're just trying to figure out different funding models and see what we can do with that. Yeah, and then a public, tomorrow we got a budget meeting, so.
Good. Besides the wild stuff, I could read mine quickly. Budget orientation, strategic planning, governance priority, Pembina Zone 3, budget again, council as usual, and then finally a budget meeting. You can read all that besides the other stuff. Bo?
If you can flip that list for me, I don't have mine handy. So yeah, we've done most of the same stuff. February 4th, strategic planning and budget meeting. February 5th, governance and priorities meeting. February 6th, campground, ag, and fire services orientations. February 11th, budget meeting. February 12th, county council meeting. February 17th was a Lacilla WQ2 meeting, and we hold those actually every Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month and last Tuesdays of each month. If anybody's interested in listening to them, let me know. And Highway 43 East Waste Commission on February 24th, which is today, right? No, 26th. 26th is the council meeting, and we have a great budget meeting tomorrow. Right, Ann?
Ed?
Kicked off the month with the Provincial Day of Snowmobiling out at the Stanger Hill staging area. That's in conjunction with the Alberta Snowmobile Association and the Alberta Beach Snowmobile Club. They had some sleds and safety gear, and I was able to go on a little trail ride with them and experience all that. February 2nd, I joined up with the Darwell Ag group there and sat in their meeting, a bunch of county ones there. February 5th, I attended the Trail Legion meeting as well. What else? Oh, on the 9th, there was Darwell and District Recreation Association meeting. That's the hall board, met up with them. And then County Council, West End Bus, ERC, and then the other one I sit on is Community Futures Yellowwood East meeting. That's up in Whitecourt. Sat there for the afternoon meeting. Not yesterday, the 23rd, there was a Darwell Library meeting, but I missed that one, didn't make it. And council today, budget tomorrow.
Jill?
I don't know. Do you want me to repeat everything or just say what's different? I'll just make it easy so I'm not repeating. February 11th was the budget, but I also went to the Intermunicipal Development Plan meeting with Mayor Thorpe. And then the 18th, I did the West End Bus meeting and St. Anne Emergency Response Center meeting. And then yesterday, I had the Lac St. Anne Foundation meeting. And then the same as everyone else.
Good, thank you, councilors. I want to commend all of you on the time you're spending. I think that our public needs to understand that we're just not here once or twice. We're doing other stuff, so it's very good to do that. And I think that would be a great idea, Anna, if we did this monthly. I don't think we need to do it.
No, I think right now we're going to try to see how it goes, second council meeting every month.
Yeah, that's great, thank you. Okay, well, I don't believe we have anything else. I would ask for an adjournment motion. Yes, Ann?
If you want to talk about the research center,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Yes, I do want to talk about that. So, our Reeve and council had sent a letter off to several different dignitaries talking about the need to keep the Lacombe Research Center going. We did receive a letter back from Shane Getson. It says, it was addressed to Cindy. I think they were meaning the council as a whole. Many thanks for the letter, and please pass along the following comments back to the Reeve and council for the interim until a formal response is provided by the ministry. As agriculture is a shared portfolio between provinces and the federal government. Number one, MLA Johnson brought this matter to my attention, and I was extremely pleased and proud of how she took action and the lead on the file from the private member perspective. MLA Johnson is the lead on this as it is her constituency, and as a farmer herself, very much aware of services that the Research Center provides. At the AGM for the Ag Societies, both MLA Johnson and myself spoke about the concerns that we have in the closure of the facility and the projects that are currently underway. This matter has yet to be resolved and is a work in progress, but you can rest assured that many of us understand the significance and the relevance to our ag industry, which is undeniably one of the largest economic drivers in the province. Thank you for your shared concern for the ag industry, and I wish to thank you again for the specific services that the county provides for the producers in our area with your own departments and programs. We will advise as further updates are made available. All the best, Shane. So it's good to hear that we aren't the only ones, and I see across Canada we're not the only ones as well. So I'm hoping we can make a change, but that will be determined by other people. So then with that, you call a motion. Mike adjourns the meeting. Thank you. 1:07.